You are going to keep failing in OnlyFans management in general, but trying to actually grow and scale your agency sustainably until you understand this one framework. That framework being the theory of constraints. Let's get right into the video. So most OnlyFans management agency operators, they're not stuck. You're actually just misdiagnosing your problems. If you feel like you're working but not progressing, effort is clearly not the problem here. It's obviously focus. And that's something that you've probably misconstrued already. You're firefighting surface level problems instead of actually fixing the thing that is stagnating your growth. And that's why I go on to say, you're going to keep failing in OFM until you understand this one framework. This isn't motivational. This is the difference between random growth and repeatable growth. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. And that is the beauty of this framework here. So you're probably now asking me, Mason, what is this magical formula that once I know, I can unlock growth forever? Well, theory of constraints goes on to say that your agency is limited by one main bottleneck at any given time. Not 10, albeit it might be 10. Not everything, although everything might be a mess in your agency. One main constraint is holding back significant throughput for results to be able to be generated with your agency. Let's quickly clear up why you should even listen to me. So I'm Mason, Double M or Money Mace, however you know me. I've run a 6-figure per month OnlyFans management agency for 3+ years now. I've coached hundreds of other agencies, seeing firsthand what builds and what breaks agencies after they hit it big. And I also now run Double M Consultancy, a program designed to eliminate the guesswork for growth, giving you the knowledge and identity shift required to scale and sustain from your current OFM agency position. Look, by the end of this video, you're going to be able to identify your key current constraint within less than 15 minutes, stop wasting weeks on the wrong lever, build a weekly constraint audit you can repeat forever, know what to track so your decisions are objective, not emotional, and know exactly what is holding you back, how to fix it, and how to repeat this framework for each area of the business and achieve consistent, sustainable growth within your agency. As that is what we are all after, guys. And if you've been going at this for a while and you can't quite see what your current constraint is, then hopefully this video helps. If not, then this might be for you. Drop me a DM on Instagram or go ahead and just book in a call below to see how I can personally help. This is literally the first thing that I do with any of the coaching clients that come on board. We first run an agency audit, locate the constraint, and then we go ahead and attack it. If you want my professional bird's eye view over your situation, just follow the links below. And this is my account for anybody who needs to reference it. Don't go ahead and get scammed. That's the lowest IQ behavior. So here's how this video is going to work. What we're going to be explaining first is what the theory of constraints actually is, how it applies to OFM, recruitment, marketing, sales, and operations, the weekly audit system, the data that you actually need to track, and how to fix the constraint without burning out. So let's just take this back to its core essence and be clear what we are actually solving here, because OFM is a value machine. OFM is literally just another business model. And what is a business? A business is essentially just problem solving for money. In OFM, you actually create a problem. You create the desire through your marketing. And then you actually go on to then solve that problem through your chatting, through the content that you upsell. If output is low, i.e. your revenue, then something within this machine is obviously throttling it, which is going to be the constraint that we're here to find and then resolve. So let's explain the theory of constraints in one simple sentence. Your results are capped by the weakest part of your system. Fixing anything else is basically just busy work. When you fix the constraint, everything downstream improves. So let's be honest. Every OFM agency is basically 4 different departments. Now you can have sub-departments, subdivisions, whatever. But let's just be clear for everyone to be on the same page here. You've got your recruitment, which is your models and your pipeline. You've then got marketing, which is the second lever, being the traffic that comes to those pages. You've then got your sales, which is how your traffic that you brought through to your models pages is then monetized and actually expanded or levered in a significantly greater way. And then you've got your operations, your people, your systems, your quality control, and how you actually sustain the entire system that you go on to build. So one of these 4 things, depending on your agency stage, is your biggest ceiling right now. If you pick the wrong one to focus on, you're going to waste weeks and potentially see your agency diminish over that period because you haven't worked on the right thing that would actually sustain and grow things to the next level. And this is the biggest mistake that I see like 90% of agencies making, is trying to fix everything at once. Now I'm able to relay this to you guys because I got taught this lesson harshly from a COO at an 8-figure tech company. He was a dad friend and he politely offered me a couple of audits on my operations within my agency from a completely different standpoint. He found a bunch of bottlenecks and gave me a list of to-dos that I need to complete within like a month's time before our next call. So anyway, the next month rolled around. Because there were so many things on this list, I hadn't really got any of them done to a significant level, to the point of completion. It was all kind of 10% done. Now, when I rocked up to that call, he stuck it on me. He said, well, the best thing that you had have done is come to this call with just one of the biggest constraints that I highlighted to you fixed. And so from there, I then went away, I looked at this 20 plus point to-do list. I literally crossed 80% of it out, and I worked on the 2 or 3 things that would actually resolve like my biggest constraint and allow me to open up scale within the agency. So more formidably for you guys watching, you might be trying to do new scripts for the models, get new traffic sources, new hiring, and trying to implement different people into departments that are not yet really that built out. And all of this looks like progress. Like you've got that business kind of culture, that hustler's mindset where it's like, yeah, we're in the fire, we're making things happen, and it feels super productive. But then you get to the end of the month and you're like, hold on, revenue didn't even increase. Like I've made less money than what my inflow says, right? So if you're going through that problem, don't worry, I completely understand it, and we're going to be resolving that now. So one of the first questions that you need to go ahead and ask yourself is which of these is currently true? And it might be all of them, but let's just locate the biggest one first. So we don't have enough quality models, then you've got a recruitment constraint. We have models, but views are dead, then you've got a marketing constraint. Traffic is fine, but the conversion from that traffic into genuine sales is weak. You've got a sales problem. And we're growing, but it's absolute chaos. And that is where you have an ops constraint. We usually see this in mid to high 5, even low 6-figure agencies who have got up to this point, but they don't know how to sustain it or now actually make this a business. So if recruitment is a constraint, you're obviously going to see low reply rate on outbound. You're going to see a weak pipeline and no nurture sequences even being entered. Calls booked for your calendar, or even you personally booking calls inconsistently. Too many maybe later creators, and your team, if you have one at this point, is going to be idle because there's no supply of models. At this point here, fixing sales won't matter much if the model quality is trash, and fixing marketing won't matter at all if you don't have any creators to run that marketing with. So just to highlight, above all else, if this is your problem right now, or if this is your constraint that you've now noticed, well, you need to be doing everything in your power, and I'm going to be giving a little bit more tangible advice on how you can go about that later on, and even that I'm covering it here in different videos on the YouTube channel. But you need to be putting a significant proportion of hours into resolving this problem until done. Not to the point where, oh, now I've got a few more booked calls, oh, now I've signed a couple of low quality creators, to the point where you are getting consistent call bookings, consistent pipeline. And that doesn't mean necessarily signing creators day in, day out, week in, week out, because that isn't necessarily scalable. And that isn't necessarily the best case scenario for your current position if you don't have the team to handle it. But it does mean that you have options. If marketing is a constraint, then your models might be pretty decent. The chatting's actually relatively okay. You've got LTV at least industry standard numbers. But above all of this, you can't push consistent traffic. Views sometimes spike up on your accounts and then absolutely die off. And you're just hoping for virality. Well, if this sounds like you, then obviously marketing is your constraint. This should be what you are working on almost wholeheartedly until resolved. If sales is a constraint, that's going to look like traffic coming in, LTV very low, and if you don't really know what good LTV is or bad LTV is, well, this is something that we actually benchmark within the community, because you're going to have small variations based on creator, based on traffic source, based on niche. So having a community of like-minded people in a similar field allows you to kind of compare and cross-analyze whether you're actually doing exceptionally well or exceptionally shit. You have poor model content, which is obviously a factor that goes into the sales number. Low tips, low upsells, chatter performance is inconsistent, and scripts aren't being executed with standards. So these are all things that you can go ahead and look at or might be highlighted to if sales is the constraint within your agency. If operations is the constraint, well, you're probably the bottleneck. Everything relies on you. Constant fires, no repeatable standards, and team confusion / inconsistent execution. And this is what we usually see, like I say, at that low 6-figure per month agency range. And above all else, this is why most agencies plateau. They're attacking the wrong lever, sometimes for months on end. If you can't objectively tell me which constraint you have, then you are simply playing a guessing game. And guessing is very expensive, not only financially on potential generated revenue, but on your time, the most important asset that you own. That's why inside of Double M Consultancy in my one-to-one mentorship, we start with a full audit, because the right next move depends on your personal constraint. But keep watching, because hopefully you're starting to see how you can figure this stuff out for yourself. This is the weekly audit system and how I want you to approach every week. Every week, go in with just one question. What single problem, if solved, increases throughput the most? Not what do I feel like doing, not what am I stressed about, the biggest lever. Now, another reason why I say to do it on a weekly basis is this gives you significant time to actually resolve that problem. And it might be a case that you work on something for weeks, but at least you know that once you've located the biggest problem or the biggest constraint, working on that for weeks actually has tangible ROI attached to it. Now, here's a huge one. No data, no diagnosis. Mid-sized agencies especially, because this is where I see most things going wrong, you must track your data. Otherwise, you are literally just running on vibes. And you might have a level of intuition that you can count on. It's probably done you quite well up to now. But if you want to really scale to the big boy level, then you've got to be tracking your data. Vibes don't scale at that multi-six figure per month revenue mark, especially if you want to sustain and grow them beyond that. Here's a quick example of some tracking that you do within your recruitment. You've got outbound sent, you've got reply rate, nurture count or nurture sequences entered, calls booked, and close rate. Simple metrics that you should know, at least on a week-on-week or month-on-month basis. If these all end up being zero, well then how can you expect any new creators to come into your agency? This tells you exactly where things are breaking. So you might be getting a lot of outbound sent, you might be getting a very low reply rate, or you might be entering into nurture sequences and nothing's materializing into calls booked. Well, this lets you go in and actually work on where the micro problem, pertinent to the macro problem, lies. So you can resolve this entire constraint. A couple other examples you have here are high replies, for example, and low calls. Well, you've got a nurture problem. So again, you want to look at what is being said within your nurture sequence. And again, this is all very personable usually, but you might be able to see how you can improve or which team member you've assigned to this can improve. You might have high calls and low close rate. Well, that might come down to an offer/positioning problem and how you actually frame yourself on these calls. A marketing tracking example, you've got the number of active accounts you have for your models, you've got the posts per day, and this is like one of the most basic things which I referenced here because like a lot of agencies sometimes, this is just a complete side note and some game for you, is that most agencies aren't even doing the basics properly. They're not even posting consistently, let alone tracking their data and dialing in their hooks and all things of this nature. They're not even just posting on a consistent basis. So make sure you've got the basics dialed before even looking at anything more advanced. You've then got the views per post. You've got other metrics such as view to follower rate, etc. But this isn't a full marketing video. Click-through rate to your OnlyFans link and your conversion to subs. This is honestly one of the most key ones. So if you look here and your hooks are weak, then obviously your views are going to die. If your formats are weak, then your consistent growth dies. And that is because obviously format is a replicable content piece that is working well for your creator. And if branding is weak, then conversion dies. Like, how are you differentiating from the marketplace of hundreds of thousands, millions of OnlyFans creators out there? A sales tracking example, I'm going to keep this one super simple as well, because you've really got your revenue, you've got your LTV, and you've got your chatter performance. If traffic is fine, but LTV is low, then like you don't necessarily need more views. You need better monetization and likely better standards enforced across the sales team. Here's a quick operational tracking example. This one is a little bit more higher level and not something that you need to focus on at beginner stages. So you've got task completion consistency. This is more so when you have team members and you're trying to enforce standards across the team so you can consistently execute high standards. You've got content output consistency, something I mentioned on just then, data tracking. You've got error rates such as missed posts, missed DMs, missed follow-ups. Slow response to hiring. This is something more at the founder or higher managerial level where you've ensued growth, but you need the people or team to match that. And inefficient systems where things are just consistently breaking. You're not achieving the results, especially on a consistent basis that you so truly desire and know that you can go ahead and achieve. Ops issues are more generally silent killers. They don't usually hurt today. They might feel like a bit of pain putting out some fires, but they will kill you in months' time. So this is the flow of how things should look. You've got data, then you've got decision, and then you've got focused execution. You want to identify the constraint, pick 1 to 3 interventions, and then apply pressure for 7 days. And this 7 days, maybe a bit longer, could go on to be 7, 14, 21, 28. Hell, work on it an entire year if you need to. Joking, don't that, waste significant amounts of time. And if you're at that point there, just drop me a message, I'll help you out. You want to then review your results after you've got the data from working hard, and then you repeat. And it's just a consistent iterative process, so you are constantly growing. But if you're not checking yourself, fact-checking yourself objectively, well then you are, like I say, just playing a guessing game. And how can you expect to ever grow or even sustain the results that you're currently at? So let's be honest, everyone's got 8 to 12 hours a day. If you work for someone else, you'd be giving them 8 hours/9 hours, plus a couple of hours commuting. So why are you not giving your business the full 8 hours of attention and care it deserves? And then aim this 8 hours as in the highest proportion as possible at the largest constraint, not random tasks, not just chopping it up with your VAs or messaging your boys thinking you're networking. Actually work at resolving your constraint. Here's a nice way that I like to look at it. Put at least 70% of your weekly effort to this constraint. And this is going to ensure that it gets resolved at a faster standard or a faster speed and a higher standard. 70% goes to your constraint, which is going to be your main focus, which is your work time. So however you want to break up your day into work blocks, I usually put my very first work block at the start of my day so I can literally wholeheartedly focus on that, because when we look at 70% of your weekly effort is comprised of like time and quality. So my work block 1, albeit 3-4 hours maximum, that is my highest effort period, because the work I can do in that time frame is more than I'll complete in the rest of the 8 hours of the day available. So then the next portion of your time should be going on maintaining the machine that you have operating. And then 10% can go on to experiments, but this is, like I say, not even necessary. The main focus is here in on these. So keeping the machine running and then solving your bottlenecks so you can actually grow further. This is how you stop being scattered. I'm actually just going to break down a quick example of a mentee that implemented most things that I've just spoke about herein on this video, so you can see it in real life. And I'm going to talk about a kid called Sebastian who joined around 3 months ago. He went from 15 to 51k, but this growth was actually seen within a 30-day period. So I'm going to talk you through it so you can see an actual real-world example of what happened and where potentially you're going wrong. So Sebastian joined the mentorship around 3 months ago, and he was stuck at 15k a month. He had confused operations and weak traffic execution, and he was just trying to do so much at once, but couldn't really see the light of where to go. So the real constraint was not traffic volume, not new platforms, it was execution and focus. So here's what we did. What I personally actually went on to do with him in the call is we audited the social profiles that he had. We installed simple SOPs for his agency personally, because he had a different setup with his virtual assistants. We improved content structure side by side explained against, real working, highly viral, high converting creators against what his models were doing and what he was explaining for his models to do. We then optimized that, consistently posted, and found a format that worked. Once we hit this point, he actually approached me and he said, okay, right, great, we've got something working. I'm now going to go work out on building the Reddit system. And I just said, no, bro, like, what the fuck? This is what so many people will tell you in OFM and in business in general. It's like, double down on what works. And everyone says it until they are there in the moment. So we tried to jump to Reddit. I told him to stop, and I told, look, you've got a working format. We know what's going on here. You're just going to double down on what's working. You're going to ignore absolutely everything else. Like, the only thing that matters here really is the results. And so from there, he did 15k in December and then 51k in January. That is purely because we attacked the right lever. And my interview with him will be dropping soon, so we can talk about a few more of the gems in significantly more detail. But just to show you guys, it's literally just about focus. After focus, you can literally 3x your results in 30 days. And that's how quick life can expand. Here's another key problem that I see as well. Most agencies will pour gas on the fire sitting on quicksand. So you'll scale volume before having the foundations locked. You'll hire before standards even internally yourself are met, or even across your core team. And you'll chase growth before even fixing leaks. So when you do grow, them leaks are just expanding anyway. So that's why when you hit a big month, when you have this growth, you then the next month thereafter just collapse, or things don't necessarily feel like they're actually going to last for a long time. And this is what you should be aiming for, guys. You shouldn't just be aiming to try hit a 100k month 1 month out of the year. It should be consistent. You should be trying to hit that and then grow beyond that for the rest of the year. And that is only achieved through creating the sustainability from understanding your agency internally and building it right. So we're coming near the end now, and this is just a few key points so that you can approach the next leg of your week with this information. Big agencies aren't necessarily smarter. We're all human here. Of course, they probably have access to a nice plethora of information, but so do you guys as well. Especially if you've come here from my YouTube channel, I've got a bunch of gems and explainer videos here. They're just usually a lot more disciplined. And this is going to be the explainer that should drive it home for you all. Discipline is not only what you do. We can all wake up in the morning, we can all execute on our tasks. But discipline is also what you don't do. It's what you say no to. That's an equal part of discipline. The discipline that they have is identifying the constraint weekly and applying ruthless focus on resolving it. Not panic, not random, not any new tactic. So to leave you with something a little bit more tangible, today, I guess it's Sunday evening when this is going to be released, pick your constraint, whether that's going to be recruitment, marketing, sales, or operations. Pull your last 30 days data, and if you don't have it, don't worry, go ahead and get it, and if you can't, then start tracking it. Identify the weakest metric within that. Choose one intervention, just one, right? Don't overcomplicate, don't start picking out 30 plus, it's not going to work. And apply pressure for 7 days. Re-audit this next Monday and ask yourself, did I solve this problem? If no, why? And figure out, was that an internal issue? Did you not spend enough time on it? Did you not try enough things? Okay, cool, then you're going at it again this week. Because until resolved to completion, you're going to just be in the same boat, going round and round in circles. So, hopefully, you have enjoyed this video here and today on the theory of constraints and how it applies to you, how you can implement it within your agency to start resolving your problems and start growing. And hell, if you want me to come in and help you find your constraint, go ahead and fix it, then just DM me on IG or book a call below with the call booking link. Worst case scenario, you're going to leave with significantly better direction on how you can progress. Best case scenario, we're going to come in and help you build your agency properly to scale sustainably. As always, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Comment underneath this video as well what you want to see next, what you want to see Money Mace break down in the next video. It'll be recruitment, marketing, sales, operations, and go ahead and follow me on Instagram for more frequent updates. As always, it's been Money Mace. See you in the next video.